Afternoon, everybody. God bless you, and thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a special report for you from the Velain Report podcast. Again, a special report. We have just got news that a hospital in Gaza has been bombed. Again, this is a Christian hospital. Apparently, from what we understand, it is a Baptist hospital, and it has had a bomb fall upon it. Now, we wanted to get to you with this news and information because we know that a lot of news agencies are going to come forth with this. Hamas is going to try to use this as propaganda against the Israeli IDF forces. We want you to know and understand that we have not gathered all the information on this so far, but we do have a news clip for you that has come forth from Fox News, who is now reporting that the hospital itself wasn't bombed, but it was apparently this bomb fell in a courtyard of the hospital. And as far as we know, from first reports, about 500 people have perished in this bomb. Again, we are hearing news that this was not an Israeli missile that had fallen upon this courtyard in the hospital, but that it was indeed a failed Hamas rocket that fell in the courtyard. Now, we're still, along with everybody else, trying to gather as much information as we possibly can, and I believe that more information on this will, again, come out. But I want you to know and understand that from what we understand from many intelligence agencies, Team Teal 6 as well as special forces from the IDF are indeed on the ground in Gaza right now. It makes no sense that Israel would bomb a hospital when they have special forces that are moving into the area that would clear that hospital. This clearly would be a war crime if it was done intentionally. So one of two things has happened here. Either a missile has gone astray and has accidentally hit this hospital, or this is indeed, as we are hearing from some Israeli intelligence, a failed missile that was fired from Gaza that fell in this courtyard at the hospital and killed these people. We don't know for sure yet, but I would like to play you a clip from some of the news and information that we have here to help you better understand what news and what understanding that we have so far.
All right, so let's go back now to our top story. This just in from the IDF, saying in part, quote, intelligence from multiple sources we have in our hands indicates that Islamic Jihad is responsible for the failed rocket launch which hit the hospital in Gaza. Correspondent Trey Yingst joining us now in southern Israel with what he is learning on all of this. Hi, Trey.
Martha, good afternoon. Earlier tonight, there was an explosion at the Al-Ahli hospital in Gaza City. Reports indicate more than 500 people were killed. Immediately, Hamas came out with a statement blaming Israel. But we understand, according to an Israeli investigation tonight, they believe an Islamic Jihad rocket misfired during a barrage that was targeting central Israel, went up in the air and then landed in this hospital yard, killing hundreds of Palestinians inside Gaza. This is a significant development regardless, due to the fact that Palestinians are reportedly rioting in the West Bank and also in Amman, Jordan, outside of the Israeli embassy there. We understand that Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has canceled his planned meeting with President Biden tomorrow in the region. And it gives you a sense of just how tense things are and the information flow of what's been taking place. But the latest information we can confirm, according to the Israeli military, an Islamic Jihad rocket was fired toward Israel. It fell short inside the Gaza Strip, landing in that hospital yard and killing hundreds of Palestinians. Again, that is according to the Israelis. Hamas, the group in control of Gaza, blaming Israel for the explosion.
Yeah, Trey, we're seeing stunning scenes from there. Everybody at home is watching this video. You see cars that have smoke coming out of them, people moving bodies around in this complete chaos that is unfolding right now in Gaza. And we spoke earlier to...
And I just want to break into this for just a moment to make sure that everybody is paying attention to this news clip. If this is live footage, indeed, that we are seeing here, it's important to understand that we see the hospital standing in the background, and we see there's the building is still there. And so I do not believe that this was a direct hit. I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure, but from what they're saying, that it was the a courtyard in the hospital that had been hit. Once again, I just want you to know and understand that Israel has laser-guarded top technology missiles. They do not go astray as often as the Palestinian missiles do. In fact, it is a clear fact that as much as 30% of the missiles that are fired out of Gaza fall again and fail and do not go where they're supposed to go, where they're aimed at. And so I want you to keep that in mind as we are hearing all of this coming out from the mainstream legacy weaponized news media, and some of those who are going to be very quick to say that Israel bombed a Christian hospital within Gaza. Again, my friends, I do not believe that this is a case. This is not something that Israel would do. It's not like Israel to bomb, especially a Christian hospital. It is known to us that Hamas oftentimes does burrow itself under hospitals and under schools and under places like that to protect themselves. But again, my friends, we know that we have a ground force that is moving in that is going to clear that area. And to bomb a hospital obviously would not be in Israel's interest to do so. And they're not stupid people. They know that. They know that Hamas would use this for propaganda for years to come. And so it is not likely that Israel is going to, on purposely bomb a Christian, especially a Christian hospital. Why would they do that? Any hospital, whether it was Palestinian or Christian or not, I do not believe that they would do that. They will indeed send ground forces in there to clear that. They will check that hospital. They will check underneath that hospital for tunnels and for meeting places for Hamas. That will be cleared in that way, not by bombs and things like that. A hospital, clearly people are there, they're injured, they're trying to heal. This is not like Israel to purposely do this. I think that you're going to find out very quickly that this was not Israel. If it was a missile that went astray. Apparently, from what we know, it did not hit the hospital directly, which is another reason why I really doubt very seriously that it was a bomb from Israel, especially not an intended missile. It would have hit its target. There'd be nothing left of that building. And especially, I have seen reports now, people saying, well, the bomb was too big. It had to be one of those missiles, those bunker bomb busters. My friends, if that was the case, even if it was in the courtyard, that hospital would still, half of that hospital would still be gone. Those are big bombs, and they go deep and burrow down into the earth. It would have affected, certainly would have affected at least half of that hospital and taken at least half of that building down. This was clearly, to me, what looks like, and we don't know for sure, and I want to be sure everybody understands that we don't know for sure, but I've seen the explosion. To me, that this is a bomb that came from Hamas that fell short and fell in the courtyard, again, because that's what at least 30% of their missiles do. We also know that Hamas has been caught doing this in the past. Their missiles fall short. They fall on the public. They turn around and say it's Israel. We've caught them red-handed doing this before. So they are known to do this, my friends. Be aware of that. Be aware of that. Something else to know and to understand in this report is that President Biden's meeting in Israel has been canceled, as far as we know, according to this report as well. We are still gathering more information at the Velain Report, and we are going to report on this tomorrow afternoon at noon during our regular scheduled podcast. So that we'd like to invite you to join us. Again, we are live on Rumble and Spreaker Radio. And so you can catch us on iHeart and different places. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But I want you to hear the rest of this particular report. Again, if this is live footage that we are looking at here and then putting people in ambulances or whatever, obviously the building, the hospital is still standing there behind them. And so I just wanted us to know and understand some of these facts as we are listening to this particular report. Let's continue.
Mark Regev, who is a close advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu, and he said exactly this, that it would not be a target for the IDF. It would have been a misfire if indeed it were theirs. But he said he wanted to know if this was a misfire on the part of either Hamas or, as you're reporting, Islamic Jihad, which now appears to be the case. And it's a very quick turnaround. So I'm curious how they identified that this missile had come from Islamic Jihad. Do you have anything on that yet, Trey?
So the Israelis have a variety of intelligence inside the Gaza Strip and above the Gaza Strip when they're gathering using drones and other pieces of sensitive equipment. Just to give you a sense of how often rockets misfire inside Gaza, it's about 30% of the time. One time we were in Gaza City in 2019, and Islamic Jihad fired a barrage of rockets at Israel. One of them slammed into the building next to ours in Gaza City. And immediately Hamas and Islamic Jihad came out and blamed Israel. But upon further investigation by our team, it was clear this was a misfire. So this is certainly a plausible explanation by the Israelis. But again, more information will come out in the hours ahead. And we do expect to learn more about what exactly took place and what type of evidence the Israelis have.
Yeah.
All right, and so there you have some of the latest breaking news of this. Of course, you know, these things unfold, and it takes time for these things to unfold, and it takes time for us to know and to understand exactly what happened here. But clearly, this was not an intentional missile fired by Israel, if it came from Israel at all, and I highly doubt that it did. Again, Israel's missiles do not fall short as often as Hamas missiles. And we still know that Gaza is still firing missiles from the Gaza Strip into Israel. We've had reports of that. They are still firing missiles, no doubt about that. And so we can know and understand that is going on. Something else to keep in mind is that you are dealing with barbarians, my friends. You are dealing with literal barbarians who care nothing about life. The whole time that Israel has been dropping leaflets upon the northern part of Gaza, telling people to move to the south, we're coming in, move to the south, get out of there, giving them heads up as to what they are doing. We find reports of Hamas blocking the streets and the roads out of the northern city. Why are they doing that? They are doing that because they want civilian casualties. They are literally stopping people from northern Gaza from evacuating and getting into the southern part of Gaza. This is something that Hamas oftentimes does. They want the propaganda war. We must remember that this is just not a physical war on the ground. This is also a propaganda war, and it's about propaganda. It's about them being able to say that Israel killed as many innocent people as they possibly could. And this is what Gaza wants. So we have reports of Gaza forcing people to stay in their homes in that northern part of Gaza so that they can be killed, and so that they can Hamas can use those dead carcasses as propaganda. This is how much that they care about their people. This is exactly what we are dealing with, my friends, and we need to be wise enough to know this and to understand this. This is not a game. This is war. And this is oftentimes what happens in war, and especially when you have a war against barbarians. We're talking Genghis Khan style barbarians here, my friends. And so once again, we've seen what they've done in Israel. We've seen the raping of women, the beheading of toddlers, the murder of babies and everybody personally, just to start a war. Just to start a war. There was no reason for them to do what they did. And we know, when we go back and we take a look at this two-state solution, they have been offered a two-state solution 5 different times, and they have rejected it. Why? Because they don't want a two-state solution. What they want is exactly what they have stated. They want Jerusalem, they want every Jew dead, and they want their capital city of Palestine to be Jerusalem. That is their objective, that is their goal. They have stated it clearly, my friends, and we need to know this, and we need to understand this, and this is what this is all about. And so, again, we are dealing with barbarians here, and we need to make sure that we understand these things. This is indeed war, and there are going to be casualties of war. When you ask for war, you get war. And again, I would, if you think that this is not exactly how the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did it, you need to go back and read the book of Joshua. And in fact, if you have not seen our last Velain Report podcast that we did, we explained that in great detail, what your Bible says about what God did and how he, when he led the armies of Israel, how did he clear out the Amalekites and those in Lachish and Eglon and all of these different towns and cities and nations. Again, he left nothing breathing there. Again, it is written in the book of Genesis that God promised Abraham, I will bless those who bless you, and those who dishonor you, I will curse. And my friends, we need to remember all of these things, put together all of these pieces of the puzzle, know and understand that this, again, is war. And this is something that we need to understand. Quite frankly, and I have said this before, I will say it again, if Israel would have taken care of this back in 1948, we wouldn't have this problem right now. Again, they did not take care of it, and every year, year after year, they have to live with missiles coming over top of the city of Tel Aviv and all over Jerusalem because they did not do as God commanded them to do. And that land that belongs to them belongs to them. They need to stand up, and they need to let the world know and understand this. The Bible is a history book. It explains to us who the indigenous people of that land was, and it was not the Palestinians. And so there's much to be said here, much to be understood, and as a God-fearing, Messiah-following, cross-bearing Christian, it is our job to be the light of the world and the salt of the earth and to proclaim that truth. And that truth will be proclaimed from the Velain Report podcast, as well as many other podcasts and truthful news agencies. Oftentimes we have to go outside of the U.S. news agencies to go to Australia and to other places to get the truth. But again, my friends, that's what we're after, is the truth, nothing but the truth. And we go back to our Bible and we stand on the bedrock of what the Bible says to know and to understand that Israel and Jerusalem is the timepiece of God. I hope you know that. I hope you understand that. And if you don't know that and don't understand that, you're about to see that. Once again, the world will see as the Elohim of Israel makes himself known, and Israel is the place that will stand until we get to Ezekiel chapter 14, which is the very last war of Israel. Israel needs to be standing in order for Zechariah chapter 14 to come to fruition. And so there's much to know, much to understand, but I wanted to let you know what was going on with this hospital. I highly doubt that this was an Israeli missile. It could have been if it was something that went awry, short-circuited somehow. You know how technology is. It's not perfect 100% of the time. It was created by man. Nothing created by man is perfect 100% of the time. But I will say this, again, with Israel's laser-guided missiles and the equipment that they have, they are very precise. They are precision weapons, my friends. They very rarely go wrong. And so could they have gone wrong? It could have happened. However, it seems much more plausible, and we are starting to hear things now that this is most likely a missile that came from Hamas, that was fired from Gaza. Did Hamas fire this into the hospital for the propaganda war? This is another option that we have not heard yet, but we know, once again, we're dealing with barbarians who hide behind women and children. That's what they do. We know that that's what they do. They've done that for years, and that is something that is well known throughout the world. And so could it be that Hamas purposely fired this into this Christian hospital? Again, this was a Christian hospital. It was a Baptist hospital. This seems much more plausible to me in order to say, ha, it was Israel who did this. And the propaganda war and the wheels of propaganda keep on going and going and going and going. And my friends, no matter how many times you tell the truth, even if they had the casing of the Hamas missile that they could show you, there are still people that would never believe it. There are still people out there in the world who would never believe it because they don't want to believe that. But once again, my friends, I want us to know and I want us to understand what's going on in Israel, because this is something that is going to change the world. There's no doubt in my mind that this very well could cause World War III. We have two battle groups now from the United States in the Mediterranean Sea. We also have Turkey moving into the Mediterranean Sea to do what they call, war games. Again, it seems awful strange that they would have war games there in the Mediterranean Sea. We do believe that Turkey has joined with Israel on this, and we have heard rumblings that there are literally Turkey special forces also ready to go into Gaza. Now, we don't know whether that's true or not, but that is some of the rumblings that we have heard. We haven't verified that. We will once again get with you on this as we uncover many of these things. But there are many things that we know to be the truth, and there are many things that we're still trying to figure out is the truth or not. And so you're going to want to stay tuned to the Velain Report podcast so that we can parse these things out and know for sure what is going on. That is the job, is to know the truth. That is what is important, the truth, nothing else, whatever the truth might be. We need to know that. We need to understand that. Once again, before we let you go, everybody, I just want to let you know that we are broadcasting live this afternoon on Spreaker, and you can also download the Spreaker app for your iPhone or for your Android from Spreaker.com. You can also visit us at thevelainreport.com at our home on the web, where you can also download the Spreaker app as well. We're also live in video format on Rumble, Facebook, and on X, which used to be known as Twitter, on those respective The Velain Report channels. The Velain Report podcast is also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, and a variety of your favorite podcasting applications. And of course, all of our podcasts are indeed downloadable for free. So if you find any value in the Velain Report podcast, please share the links in the podcast wherever you can. You can also support the Velain Report podcast by clicking on the links in the description boxes below, or you can once again visit us at our home on the web at thevelainreport.com. And don't forget to click the like and the subscribe buttons if you're watching the podcast in video format on Rumble, Facebook, or X. And be sure to favorite the podcast if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app so you can get back to us and find us the next time. Again, we go live. The Velain Report goes live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons at 12 p.m. noon. That's 12 p.m. noon, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We will be live tomorrow again at 12 noon. And it will be at that time that we will give you more information on what we have learned about this hospital, as well as who the Speaker of the House is not just yet. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and those things that are moving politically in our favor and out of our favor as true God-fearing, Messiah-following, cross-bearing Christians. So once again, everybody, God bless you. Thank you so very much. And we will check with you tomorrow at noon, unless we get more information in which at that point in time, we'll give you another special report. We are monitoring the situation closely. Again, please, my friends, pray for Israel. Pray for the military that's moving in. Pray for the people of Gaza, and pray for those Palestinian people that are there. Pray for the hospitals. Pray, above all, my friends, that God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Until next time, everybody.